Hello and welcome to The Agenda with me, Graham Hughes, and I'm joined, as always, by Phil Moorhouse. How you doing, Phil, this morning?
I'm all right. You sure we're streaming this time?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I better double check. No, there was something weird that came up last
Oh, no, we
time.
are. We're fine.
Yeah,
That's
last
good.
time there was something weird about it. I think last time I hadn't stopped OBS streaming from my morning show when we
Oh,
did
yeah.
the afternoon. I think that was the problem. So we couldn't do the show on Monday. You were off somewhere, I guess. Were you back in London?
Yes.
In that there
Yes,
London?
that there, London.
You love that there London, don't you?
No,
Keep going
but
down there all the time. Can't get you out of there.
I've got to go again for the rejoin march.
Yes,
A week
that's
tomorrow.
A week tomorrow. I'll be there. Yep. Okay. Maybe we should do a live show from the march. How's your cell phone connection, as they say in the States?
It's a bit variable.
So it's like
I'm
there's
not
more
doing
than
a
two
live thing.
people in the
I am
room.
going to
I
do
don't get
some
any signal.
recording there. I'm going to take my camera. I'm going to do some recording there.
Cool. Big shout out to everyone in the chat. We've got SG in there. We've got Diz. We've got Chris C. We've got Lost Missionary. We've got Just Hannah. Saz, Unquiet Badger. Roger Devine is in there as well. If you'd like to join our friendly chat, people in the friendly chat, just hit the subscribe button and wait for approximately 60 seconds, and then you can jump in with both feet, but don't be a troll. So, has anything happened? I don't know in the last 24 hours, Phil. Anything that rocked the boat at Labour?
Yes.
Anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to mention?
Whether it rocks it is another matter because, ordinarily you would say a cabinet resignation on a matter of principle is a pretty big deal, but he's on his way out anyway. So it's less about what it does to the government. It's more about what it does to defence policy, because this is a bigger deal for Andy Burnham than Keir Starmer, because Starmer's on his way out.
Yeah.
Whether he understands that is another matter, but he is.
Yeah.
So it puts the focus on defence policy.
Well, we just had breaking news from Starmer. I've made hard-edged decisions on defence spending. This has been reported on the BBC, saying that he does not want to plunge the country into chaos of a leadership election, but if it does happen, I will fight. I don't know if it does. I don't want to be challenged for leader. Do you think he'll do it? Do you think he'll actually fight it? Do you think
I don't know. I'm hoping
he does.
I'm hoping that I saw a report that people around him are wargaming a leadership contest. I'm hoping that all the conclusions are you're going to lose, and it'll recognise that does him and the party and the country no good at all. The danger is if he thinks he can win. I 100% think he is convinced that he is the best person for the job, but. So if he thinks at all he could win that leadership contest, he really couldn't. Then, but I just hope he's persuaded that it's the best thing for the country if he just stands aside.
Yeah.
But we will see.
So what was the principle? This is about how much defence spending there was. I believe that John Healey was asking. He was the Secretary for Defence. He was requesting 28 billion, and the government was like, well, we'll give you 13, which he saw as actually being maybe 10. And he said it's just not enough because it's not just getting the army back on its feet, literally, but also modernising it as well.
Yeah.
And
yes,
there's a point here to be made, Phil, about I know us lefties don't really want us spending money on making weapons, but we're very good at it. We're one of the biggest defence contract manufacturers in the world. In the UK, there's a lot of jobs in that particular field, and there's a lot of demand for it. And we haven't actually cut back on output because the funding isn't there.
For some reason, it's frozen on my thing. Are we all right on the stream? It looks frozen at me. Anyway, okay.
I don't know. So people will complain in the chat. Is it okay in the chat? Let us know. Apparently, Roger's saying that his head is freezing. That's because it's cold. It's 15 degrees here. I've got my hoodie on. How cold is it where you are? Down south?
I don't know. I'm in a room with a big, powerful computer. It's fairly warm.
Okay.
Although I do have
11 degrees when I came in here before. It's warmed up.
You're always boasting about your freezing cold, Durham.
I'm not boasting about it. I'm freezing, Phil.
Yeah, but you can put layers on when you're cold.
That's
when
true.
you're hot, you can't. Anyway,
do you want to swap?
Right, should we talk about what we're talking about?
Sorry, yes.
So I've lost the thread. We're talking about defence, weren't we?
Defence and defence spending.
Yeah, at the end of the day, if it's people have got to decide what they want. we need defense. Russia's attacking us in case people hadn't noticed. And also, if they didn't, any country that doesn't have a defense, when it works well, is a deterrent, which is why there's no votes in it. I mean, you can emphasize, as you have done, the jobs that are dependent on it, but mostly the places that produce it tend to vote Tory anyway. So it's not really very valuable to Labour in terms of that. But we do need defence. And where are we going to get it from? Do people want us buying our defence equipment from America or, dare I say, Israel? No, in which case you want us to develop it in this country, want an independent, well, along with Europe, because they are always going to be aligned with us. Because like some people may say, well, America was aligned with us for quite a long time during the Cold War, and now they've gone away. But because of geography, the threats to Britain will always be the same as the threats to France and Italy and Germany and Poland and the Netherlands and Belgium and so on. So we can work together with European countries because we are always going to have the same defence needs. Just geography determines that. It's absolutely frozen. I don't know. For me, I'm going to refresh it. You carry on. I'm just going to refresh this.
Well, no one's complaining in the chat. I would assume that if it was frozen.
It must just be me.
People
maybe I'd hit pause by mistake.
Roger's saying the guy who resigned from defence is a proper coward, running away when things get tough. Probably a bad fit for something involving the armed forces. What are trained not to back down.
What?
I don't think he's a coward. I just think that he's reached the end of his tether on this particular issue.
I think what it is. So first of all, what I will say about John Healey, because I could understand if no one really knows who he is, he's an invisible man. He's got, if you think Starmer's got no charisma, he's got like negative charisma. And I don't mean to be mean to him. I think he's a solid Labour MP. Is loyal. He doesn't act selfishly. He, as he said in his letter, obviously, we don't know all the details and stuff like that. But what he said in his letter was that the funding arrangement, it's not just that it wasn't enough. All secretaries of state would like more money for their department. If you've got a secretary of state that thinks, no, I've got enough money, sack them because they've got no ambition. You can always do more with more money.
Yeah.
But he was saying specifically that our effectiveness would go down. In other words, it's not strictly austerity because the funding was going up and in real terms, but because the Ministry of Defence is being asked to invest in lots of extra stuff, then the core stuff, there's not enough money for it. And so he said that our defensive capability with this amount of money will actually go down. So he wasn't asking for more money as such. He was asking for money that allows us to at least maintain all the same core functions as well as the extra investment. And that's the issue, that it's been asked to invest in all of this new stuff, which we need, but it's not leaving enough money for the core capabilities. And so I understand him. I think it's harsh from everyone's point of view. I think, from Starmer and Reeves's point of view, it's a really tough issue. The issue is, I remember back in 2010, one of the first things David Cameron did, we were building someone have to correct me, I think it was planes and ships, but there was military things being built that were in production and they stopped them. Well, in the middle of producing military assets, they just said no. So that was just wasted money. And they carried on. They hollowed out our military. The Conservative government, the party so-called of usually, traditionally, a Conservative government does fund the police and defence because that's their thing. That's the only state they want. Defence and police. They want to fund the things that keep people in line. And the rest of it is open to the free market, right? That's the Conservative belief. Whereas this Conservative government hollowed out our military. So you've had someone tell me, if someone knows more about this than I do, tell me one thing the Conservatives in those 14 years invested in militarily in the defence. I can't think of anything.
No, they didn't. This is the thing, Phil. It's been underfunded. We've got the smallest army now. I think we've got the smallest standing army since Napoleon.
Before Napoleon. We had quite a big one during Napoleon, was, but before Napoleon,
So this is where the Tories get to reap the rewards of being terrible at their jobs, being incompetent, not having any future planning, because they can just blame all the shit that's going on right now on the party that takes over, which is usually Labour.
And if I was Labour, what I would be saying very loudly is, I would say in PMQs, I'd be saying, you tell me one thing we've cut back on defence.
Yeah.
Because you left us with a defence situation. You tell me one thing we cut back on, because you point to anything and I will show you how we never do this,
Phil. They never go for the easy wins.
They never do it. No.
So there was a huge thing on PMQs. Well, not a huge thing, but like PMQs this week. Nearly all 6 questions from Kemi Badenoch was like, are you going to take away money from benefits to give to defence? And if not, why not? And it's like, there wasn't a point where Starmer actually said that over 50% of benefits go on pensions.
No, exactly.
Do you want to cut the pensions, Kemi Badenoch, of all the people that vote for you, you stupid twat? He didn't say that.
That last bit would be unparliamentary language.
Yeah, I know, whatever. But like, I'm sorry, but I just really I find myself shouting at the telly. Like, just say the thing that needs to be said so it gets through to people when they go, oh, we're spending all. There was a Tory on the TV the other day saying, for the first time in history, we're spending more money on benefits than we're taking in tax.
That's not true, by the way. That's actually false.
I know.
In fact, it's the opposite.
I know. That's what I was going to say.
But let me just say, it's the opposite of false. First of all, that was the case under the Tories. It's actually not now.
Yeah.
Labour have actually reduced it. So actually, and this is what Labour should be saying, they've gone from under the Tories, that was true.
Yeah.
And now, if you look at the OBR projections, Labour have actually got it back down again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in actual fact, the reason why they're saying it now is because last year was probably the last time that'll be true, because when this year's results are in,
although this is the first time in history, Phil. This was the first time in history.
Oh yeah, no. It's been.
I'm sitting there going, no, it's been like that for years now.
More to the point,
10 years,
it has been like that since before Kemi Badenoch was an MP. And she's the one who came out with that lie, first of all. And yet, in all the time she's been an MP, it has been the case that welfare payments, which is mostly, as you say, not just state pension, but also other benefits for pensioners. Remember that you've got other things in there. Like, I mean, I know the winter fuel allowance is not huge, but still, there's your pensioners don't just get the state pension. There's pension credit and stuff like that as well. So payments for pensioners, right, is the vast majority of it. And that has been it has been the case that bill has been greater than the income tax receipt for several years before she became an MP in 2017. So that was the case all the time that she was on the government benches, all the time. And now it's not. This is going to be the first year for about 10 years that it's not going to be. Well, again, it's based on projections. We know those projections are going to be up in the air in any year, but particularly one where the Iran war is screwing everything over. But, you know. Yeah. So it's the opposite of that. It's not just that it's untrue. It's the exact opposite of the truth.
Yeah.
It's an anti-truth.
Well, that's what. But there's no challenge. Our journalists are so bad at challenging lies. They can't even identify them. I did Quagglebox last week where we watch Question Time. You know, it was a watch party, and there was a bit where I've forgotten what it was. There was a statement made about, I think it was about like Farage and his 5 million or whatever, and Fiona Bruce just went, "Oh, I haven't heard about that," and I was just like, "How could you not know?" And she went, "Oh, it just got confirmation that is entirely," you know, like she did with Stanley Johnson, where she said, "I've got confirmation that he only beat his wife so badly she ended up in hospital once." Yeah, just want to confirm. She did the same thing, and I was like, "How? This is like basic stuff that I would assume that anyone who." Not necessarily a journalist, Phil, but like someone who reads the fucking news every day.
Anyone who presents a current affairs program should be up on current affairs.
Yeah. Yeah. And she was like, "Oh, I don't sure if that's right." And so when these politicians come on and the think tanks, you know, the people representatives of the think tanks, they just lie and lie and lie. And the journalists who should say, "Hang on, that's not the case." Yeah. They never say it, Phil. They just let them finish. And they leave it to the person on the opposition to say, you know, I don't think that's
well, that's
true.
Exactly it. I remember in 2017, and Jeremy Corbyn, as Labour leader at the time, was complaining that the Conservatives were telling lies during the campaign. Yeah, like really, I mean, proper egregious lies. And they complained to Downing Street because they were basically saying, "Well, you need to put out the correct, because this is about government. You need to put out the correct information." They say it's up to you to call it out.
Yeah, yeah. So, what do you think is going to happen next then? So we've got
Andy Burnham's going to win the by-election.
The review's supposed to come out today, isn't it? The defence review.
Yeah, I mean, something like that. Obviously, it's at this when a prime minister's on his way out, it's sort of like a bit pointless. Because yes, it'll be out, and yeah, Burnham will commit to it a little bit, but he'll just have to tweak it.
Haven't they?
There'll be a lot of pressure on him to do something.
They've spent a lot of time putting this together, and for John Healey to move out at the last moment, if the day before it gets released, and say, I can't put my name to this.
Yeah. It shows what a shit show it has been. I don't blame them for the shit show, because you had a situation. So they came into power after 14 years of underinvestment. There'll have been things they didn't really know about anyway, so they had to get the full story. Then Trump won the election, and it completely threw out, because a lot of our defense has been based on America, and now we can't trust America, right? No. So they'll have been developing a defense plan, and they were straight away. It was one of the first things, they were developing a defense plan quite urgently. And then things have changed. So that's obviously good. So although they're being attacked for the delays, the delays make sense, right? Because how, that defense plan will have been initially based on the idea that America was on our side, and now it's not. And so then so that'll cause delays as well. And then Trump isn't just like removing some defense guarantees, but he's actively screwing. Like last year, he was screwing with our economy, as in the global economy, but ours by extension, with his tariffs nonsense. This year with war, so of course things are changing.
Yeah.
I mean, thank God we didn't join in with the bloody war. Otherwise, we'd have even fewer military assets left.
Oh my God! I mean,
can you imagine.
And did they seem to have forgotten any journalists who wants to ask Farage a question, or Kemi Badenoch? Seems to have forgotten that both of them were like, "Yeah, we should join in this war straight away, off the bat. No research, no looking into what the ins and outs.
Well, that's another thing Starmer should have said.
Yeah, I know. I'm just every time he talks, Phil, I'm just going, will you just say this? And he never does.
He should have asked Badenoch, and I know, and you'll be told, it's private discretion, but he should just ask Badenoch, how much extra would it have cost our defence industry if we'd have done what you wanted and joined in with this war?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he could have come prepared.
He has mentioned it a couple of times, but they haven't really
he's mentioned that, but he hasn't asked the question.
Yeah.
He hasn't asked the question, how much extra would, and he could have gone furnished with it, because he could have got the Ministry of Defence to work it out, right?
God, it's so frustrating. Do you think Burnham will? Do you think Burnham will do a better job of this? Or is it going to be the same?
My view of politicians these days is pretty dim, because I just don't think they've done their apprenticeships properly. I think the quality of politicians these days is pretty poor. It's same in America. It's not just a British problem. There's so many things they could just because that's what you want.
Mondami's pretty good, though. Mondami's pretty good.
Well, yeah, but the problem is you're comparing. Well, you say that he's just solid. Like he looks better because everyone else is shit.
No, but he's good at communicating.
Yes.
And he has balanced the budget. He has done stuff to change things for New Yorkers and got their budget down. They brought in event freeze in New York City, the capitalist capital of the fucking world. They brought in event freeze. Why can't they do that in London? That would change everything.
It would change quite a lot of things.
Yes,
but anyway,
it would.
But I mean, I said it can. I forgot what I was saying now. But the point is, he's got such a low bar that then when you get someone who does that, they look like a genius. But he's actually just solid. He's all right.
Yeah.
It's because he takes it seriously, and he is actually quite experienced. Although he's shot to a lot of people's attention, he's very experienced, and he comes from a political family, so he's had he grew up with that experience. Right?
His mum directed the movie Monsoon Wedding, which I really recommend as a great little.
And but we just don't have it. Like I described a few years ago that Nicola Sturgeon was like the most effective political leader we had in this country. But she wasn't up against much competition.
She didn't know what her husband was spending all his money on.
No, again, I will always say, I mean, you are obviously going to trust your spouse, but
I know,
but nonetheless, politically, she was good. She was a good communicator.
Yeah.
We just don't have many of them, and it's Andy Burnham. I don't think I don't think Andy Burnham's a brilliant communicator.
He's
Like
better
you're
than
judging him
Starmer,
by
though.
the standards of the shit we've had to put up with over
No,
the
but
last few years.
the little videos he's been making on TikTok and stuff. I mean, he's up
Yeah,
there
but
with Count Binface as far as I'm
yeah,
concerned.
but that's just like a little video. He's coming across better, sure. He's
Yeah.
more natural,
He was
but that's
really
not the
good on
communication
Question
you
Time.
need.
Last
Yeah,
week,
but
he
again,
was really good.
why was he really good?
Because
Because everyone else that was there was inexperienced.
yeah,
So
but
of
he
course
didn't
he comes
fall
across more
into the
confident.
traps that Labour politicians
because
or
he's
left-wing
experienced.
politicians fall into of trying to argue with everyone about every single point.
No,
He
sure,
said, no,
yeah.
you've got make a
But-
good point there. And what I would do is, and you know, he was very good in the way that he came across, and you could tell he had trained. You know, this isn't something that it's just because he's not. You know, there was a positive thing here, like he had been positively trained to do this. He was making sure that any refuck voter watching that would not be put off from voting for him.
Yes. But what I'm saying is that should be basic. That's not remarkable. It should be, that's what used to be standard politics. Standard politics used to be, you go on to anything like that, whether it's a debate or an interview or whatever it is, and you have your key objectives in mind and you have your strategy for meeting those objectives. And you do get some who do it. Lisa Nandy's quite good at it. Wes Streeting's quite good at it. David Lammy's quite good at it. Yvette Cooper's quite good at it. But there's not that many that are good at it.
Yeah, we saw that
and
on the Question Time.
They should all be good at it.
The Green candidate, absolutely. She came off quite strong at the beginning, but by the end, when she was being challenged by the refucker, Robert Kenyon, and he said to her, well, if there's a housing crisis and we've got people coming from other countries, who's going to live in all these houses? And she didn't have an answer. It was so frustrating to watch because I'm sitting there going,
because these people have not taken it. I mean, okay, she was thrust into it. She wouldn't necessarily have expected to be in a competition like this.
Yeah.
But
and we should stress that because she wasn't the original candidate for the Greens. They got yeeted out for naughty things on the internet.
Although she is an experienced politician, but at local level where you don't get the same scrutiny. But nonetheless, anyone serious about politics should think about these things, and they need to think strategically, and they don't.
Yeah.
And they don't think to themselves, what are the messages I want to get across? But also, what's the lay of the land? Because it's a bit like the old thing, isn't it? No plan survives contact with the enemy, or Mike Tyson's everyone has a plan until they get hit. So you can't just work out this, it'll go like this and they'll say this and I'll say that. No, you've got to work out what realistically is going to be thrown at you.
Yeah.
And for that, you've got to stand outside your bubble.
Yes. But if you go into a debate with a refucker, they're going to mention immigration.
Of course they are.
And why will they say immigration is a bad thing? Because it's taken all our resources. Exactly. That's the argument they've made for the last 17,000 years. Nothing is going to change.
And no one.
So you prep for it.
Yeah, and you do, and you need to come out with where do those resources come from?
Yeah. And I assume that before people go into these debates, they have people with them and they go through all the questions that might come up and they give their responses and they workshop it or plan it out in that way. But that's what I'm saying they should do. But it didn't come across like that. But it did for Andy Burnham. It looked like Andy Burnham, a very professional, very cool, very collected.
He's very experienced. He's been a cabinet minister.
Yeah.
Oh, was he a cabinet minister or was he just junior minister? I can't remember. I think he was a cabinet minister before the end.
Yeah.
But he's certainly been in government.
Brighton and Hove actually is making a good point. The first time Andy Burnham came to my attention is when he acknowledged that Theresa May had been the first Home Secretary to tackle Hillsborough properly rather than being tribal. And I think that's something that he is actually very good at, getting people on side. You could see him on Question Time. He was sitting next to a Tory and he seems to be getting on all right with the Tory.
Yeah.
And he didn't have a go at Robert Kenyon. He let everyone else. He let the audience have a go at him. He let the other cat. He just sat there going.
Yeah.
Anyway, Chris C, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. First super chat of the day. Woohoo! In 2010, the British Army had 115,000 regular personnel. In 2024, when the Tories left government, they had 75,300 regular personnel. So that's a decrease of 35,300.
Absolutely hollowed everything out.
Yeah. And not 35, 40,000. That's a decrease of 40,000.
But as I say, and because of that, we've had to spend a lot. So even though they're getting more money, they've had to spend. I mean, one of the first things they did was actually nationalise accommodation for service personnel, because the private owners, it was in a shocking state apparently, and it was just like there was no way to get it fixed. They just had to buy it all. So that came at a significant cost. That was a very expensive form of nationalisation. That cost billions.
Yeah.
But it was the only way to get service personnel decent accommodation.
Yeah.
And so that's the problem. There's been all this money that needs to be pumped into it. That it's not just that MOD been given more money, right? Deliver the same stuff, maybe a bit better. They've got extra demands now, and so that core spending is effectively going down, and that's why Healey thought, and he's obviously thought, well, I can't go along with this because I'm being asked to. What is it? Starmer always talks about. We're not going to preside over decline. It's like the Tories had this managed decline approach, and we're not going to do that. Whereas Healey has come to the conclusion, but that is what you're asking me to do with defence.
Yeah.
So I did understand. I understand from all point of view. I have sympathy for Starmer, Reeves, and Healey in this.
Yeah.
Because all of them have been presented with this shit situation for which there's no easy solution. But I am going to say there needed to be a solution. And, as I say, there might be a good reason why they didn't in the end look at defence bonds. But my argument is, I think defence bonds would work because, as you've said, we're actually really good. Our defence sector is actually really good. And when we develop weapons, they are usually quite effective and other people will buy them.
Yeah.
So there is a return there. It's not just that we're building them for ourselves. There is a return.
Yeah.
And so defence bonds, I think, or I get the impression, would be attractive to investors.
Yeah.
So why don't we do that?
Yeah.
Because that way we're raising money. It's not taxation. We're inviting people to invest in it. That way it can meet all the objectives. We can have a boost in defence. It can sit outside the OBR's furrowed brow. There might be a good reason why not, but because it's not being discussed seriously, I don't know what it is.
Yeah. No, I agree. But I mean, this is stuff that we need a serious grown-up government doing, and I couldn't imagine Boris Johnson. Or any of the clowns. I mean, Theresa May and David Cameron didn't like them, but at least they came across with a sniff of respectability about what they were doing. Boris Johnson was a fucking clown, and he should never have been anywhere near the levers of power. And then even worse for Liz Truss. Thankfully, she was only in for 44 days. But then, I don't feel sorry in any way, shape, or form for Rishi Sunak. He had to, but he, more than anyone else in the Tory party, I think in the Tory party history, was just handed the biggest shit sandwich you could ever imagine. But they spent. Well, he didn't. He lost the election, didn't he?
Yeah, but nonetheless,
he got the job.
At the end of the day, you don't feel sympathy. Well, you can feel some sympathy. He was dumped in a terrible situation politically and economically. But he was, in terms of economics, he was the Chancellor that fucked everything up during the pandemic year.
Yeah.
Apart from furlough. But furlough, remember, was already arranged before he became Chancellor. So that was, that wasn't him. He just authorised it. Yeah, okay, he could have denied it, but that would have been a political suicide job. Yeah. But he didn't do it. He didn't even authorise it. It was all managed while Sajid Javid was Chancellor.
Yeah.
He just put it into operation and got the credit for it. But everything he actually did, that eat out to help out scam, not scheme, was an absolute nightmare.
Eat out to help the virus
VIP
out.
lane. He had to authorise all that.
And his wife being a non-dom while she was living at number 11 Downing Street, Phil.
Yeah.
Number 11 Downing Street. God's sake.
And Rishi Sunak still had his green card at the time. So while he was which the green card, just to be clear, you're supposed to be making it clear that you intend to live permanently in the United States.
To make America your forever home.
Yeah. So what sort of person who has an ambition to live permanently in America runs the British government?
Yeah. With the talking in the chat about defence bonds, I have no objection with defence bonds. And someone said they should call them Patriot bonds or bring in a Patriot tax and let the gammon moan about that. I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
You know when they've done this in the past where they have allowed for a local referendum to put up local taxes, right?
Yeah.
And then the people are told what extra services they will get if they pay a little bit more tax.
Yeah.
The highest rate of tax always wins Because people go, yeah, okay, I can afford another £2 a month or whatever it is. I'll pay slightly more, and I'll get this bus service. I'll get this. I'll get that, which I'll actually want to use. So I see the same with this. It's all to do with marketing. It's all to do with advertising. It's how you sell your product. And Labour are just so bad at selling their product.
Yeah.
They make everyone feel
I keep
put
saying,
upon.
every year they should be putting out a newsletter to every house in the country that says, these are your new rights now.
Yeah.
We've done this. These are your new rights. For information purposes, not party political purposes. Like Carol Vorderman sends out that letter to Makerfield, and she does more to promote Labour's Employment Rights Act than Labour have done.
Yeah.
Labour should have put out a letter in March saying, these are the new rights you're getting next month.
Yeah.
Every March they should put out a thing, because these things tend to come online the new tax year. These are your new rights. These are your new protections. Yeah. And this is how you enforce them.
Yeah.
Because people would read that. And if some throw it in the bin, well, their friends can tell them, oh, did you get that letter? Oh, I didn't read it. Oh, but it says you can get now, you've now got access to sick pay properly, right? You've got a job, you get sick, you're going to have sick pay. Oh, but I don't earn enough. Don't matter, mate. Don't matter. There's none of that anymore. You just get automatic sick pay. How many people actually realise that now?
No, that's
but if it was sent in a letter, they would.
Yeah. Again, we often talk about Labour comms. Maybe they'll improve with Andy Burnham. Starmer just comes across as Stonewall Starmer. I don't think anyone can get through to him. I watched Wes Streeting, shut up Wesley, the other day on the news agents or something, and he was talking about what happened a couple of weeks ago when he left, and they had this, obviously, these terrible results in the locals, and then on the cabinet meeting the following Tuesday, Starmer said, right, we're going to talk about defence or whatever it was we had to talk about. And if there's anything that you want to talk to me about, well, I'll talk to you afterwards, after the, one-to-one. And so Wes Streeting didn't say anything to him because he didn't want to, the cabinet was there for a meeting for a reason, which is understandable. But then Starmer gave them no time at the end to have a conversation. He just fucked off. And he was like, okay.
Well, that's your fortress mentality. You see it in so many other contexts. When you're really under the cosh, people just they just stick their head in the sand, and that's what's happening there.
There's not much love coming in for Rishi Sunak in the chat, I've got to say.
Well, no, quite right too. He used it to enrich his family. He didn't do anything. There was the Windsor framework, but he had to get that done.
Yeah,
I will give him his due that he tried to do something he tried to swing too much into trying to be a tech bro and inviting space Karen on stuff.
He moved funding from deprived communities to Tunbridge Wells.
No, there's nothing really good that Rishi Sunak actually did.
No.
The Windsor framework.
I'm sorry, this is what I'm saying. I don't have any sympathy with him, but he was handed a shit sandwich. No leader, I don't think any leader, no matter how good they were, at that point of the Tories could have won the next election, because it was. But then he
took that shit sandwich, decided to wipe Boris Johnson's arse with it, and then still carry on eating.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is if anyone's been put off their
no sympathy. Paulie Donkey has got a question, which is brilliant. Thank you so much for that, Paulie Donkey. This was going to be my next question for Phil. But before we get to that, SG, thank you very much for the super chat. Get Charles to pay some inheritance tax for the defence of Israel. Is that IHT? Is that inheritance tax?
Yeah, inheritance tax usually.
Yeah,
that means.
Yeah. Paulie Donkey, what if Burnham loses? Consider that seriously.
Well, according to the bookies, Ed Miliband would be good. What I think will happen.
Do you think there'll be a leadership contest if he loses?
Yes.
You think it'll still happen, whether he wins or loses?
Yes. I think people are holding back at the moment because everyone sort of wants Burnham to replace him.
Yeah.
But I think there's a majority now that realise that Starmer has to go. And the problem is, it's not like there will be some that will be thinking, but will the urgency be there? But I think it's hard for me to know where the balance of views are on that. Mm-hmm. I would look at it and go, but he keeps cocking things up.
Yeah.
And it's like with Boris Johnson now. And I would say to the Conservatives at the time, he's not going to, people thinking, oh, certain things will blow over. And it's like, well, even if they do, he keeps coming out with more scandals. He will never stop. And Starmer, okay, it's not scandals with him, but he will keep pissing the public off. He just keeps, he's not it's so bad that people will think it's not like it's all the damage is done now and you can wait another couple of years then replace him. He will continue to do damage because he's not taking communication seriously.
But just if Burnham does lose, Ned's saying, do you think it'll cause a massive shit show if he loses?
Yes.
Because whoever takes over from Starmer, I can't. There's
They'll
no
be
one
seen
in the
as the consolation prize straight away.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know that Ed Miliband will. Andy Burnham will definitely make things better, but he has by far and away the best chance. He begins popular.
Yeah.
None of the others do.
Yeah.
So all of the others will have to build up
water.
Yeah. So it's a bit like with Rishi Sunak. Rishi Sunak was fairly popular when he took over. Not the least of which because he'd replaced Liz Truss.
Qualifications for the job, not being Liz Truss.
The Conservatives hoped that he would pull the Conservatives' reputation up to his level. In actual fact, they dragged him down to theirs. The same thing will apply with Burnham. Like Andy Burnham begins popular, so he just has to not lose popularity too much. He will lose some, and try to then. He needs to establish his own reputation as Prime Minister and then tie himself to the Labour government. Every other potential candidate has to build up their personal reputation before they can do that job. Yeah. So, which is no mean feat. So, Andy Burnham begins popular. He isn't necessarily a better political thinker than the likes of Angela Rayner, Ed Miliband, or Wes Streeting. But he begins popular. He has that distance. He can disown any number of policies that have now provably pissed the public off and say, I would never have done them.
Yeah.
And whereas all the other cabinet ministers can say it, but
no, they can't because of cabinet collective responsibility.
Well, but afterwards, once they are the prime minister, they can say, I privately talked against it. But will people believe it? Whereas with Andy Burnham, there's that. He's got that distance. So he all of the others carry massive risks. Yeah. All of the others. Wes Streeting and Angela Rayner are too divisive. Ed Miliband, there's that risk that although he could be a bit of an everyman, there is that risk that he's still the same Ed Miliband that completely arsed up in 2015. And although he's become more assured now, he's still the same personality. And a lot of his problems was the personality side of things.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a risk.
In the chat, Roger Devine makes a very good point, saying Starmer could single-handedly cure cancer, stop homelessness entirely, give everyone £1 million, and he would still be hated. It is baked in now, and I believe that.
I think it is.
Yeah. The level of vitriol people have against Keir Starmer, which I don't think is entirely justified. I mean, it certainly is if you're part of the trans community, for instance, or a particular minority that you feel that he's got out of his way to demonise. But when it comes to the general life in the UK, the reason I couldn't do the show this morning is we had the appointment at the hospital, and God, it was effortless. It was just we went in, we paid for like a couple of hours for the car, and it was free for the first hour. And I thought, well, we better pay just in case. We were only there for about 10 minutes. We barely sat down and they called us through. And then it's brilliant. And I'm like, okay, I know people have had terrible experiences on the NHS and my friends have had really rough times in the past. But from my point of view, like the NHS has never been particularly terrible. But under the Tories, I remember waiting in like Old Swan Clinic or whatever it's called, the drop-in, for like 3 hours to get my friends seen.
I've had hours long waits, which never happened when the last Labour government were in.
No. I remember one time my ex-girlfriend who was Australian, she wasn't even British, Phil. She wasn't even British, and she injured herself, and I had to drive her to the hospital in Liverpool, the Royal, and they'd given it. They'd taken this in A&E. They'd taken her in. They'd X-rayed her foot. They'd bandaged it all up and sent her on her way. In half an hour.
Yeah.
And you couldn't pay for that. In America, you can't, even if you got swanky insurance over there, you don't get seen in half an hour. You got to wait at least a little bit. But the Tories do this thing that they always do in it, where they wind down something so everyone says, oh, it's shit. It'll be better if it's privatised.
Exactly.
They did it with the trains. They did it with the buses. They're trying to do it with the NHS. Saz, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. We're only one super chat away from Confetti, which I know Phil's going to be very excited about. But yeah, we've got about 20 minutes left. Should we move on? Because I know you're desperate to talk about the round ball Earth Cup that is happening at the moment.
Well, we can.
Apparently, in 1966. The FA discussed not allowing, the British government discussed not allowing the players from North Korea to come, because this is fresh off the back of the Korean War. And FIFA responded that if any players from any teams were denied visas, they would relocate the World Cup, even if it was the last minute.
Yeah. Well, this was back when FIFA were a football organisation, but they're just a money magnet now.
The shit at it, though. The shit at it. There's loads of tickets up for resale. Yeah. Even on the FIFA's own site, there's tickets going for half of what the original price was. They reckon there's about 130,000 tickets that are unsold in America. Yeah. But also, I think Mexico's doing all right, but also in Canada as well. Canada, they've got games that are being played in Toronto and Vancouver, and they are undersubscribed as well. So it's not just America that's put people off. It's the whole thing.
Well, I mean, is it because you'd have to have, I don't know, it depends where you come from. If you have to have a stop off in America before you can go on to Canada, maybe that's what affected some people's thinking.
Yeah, maybe. But also,
it's expensive as well. I mean, there's a bit of a shortage of jet fuel. You may have noticed, like, there's a bit of a problem in the Middle East. So it's expensive.
Yeah, but if you booked your flights, they've got to, 6 months ago or whatever, they've got to.
Yeah, but the way it works, the World Cup, so if you're going to go there for like even just the group stages, there's a lot of flights. You fly to where you're going to be based, but then there's the flights to the games.
Yeah.
Like, you might base yourself where one of those games is, but what about the other two?
Yeah, it's the most spread out World Cup in history. Yeah. All the way from Mexico City to Vancouver.
Like, they're talking about the fact that it's the first time a World Cup's been jointly hosted by 3 countries. We've had 2 before, but the sheer geographical scale of it's an entire continent.
Yeah. Glass Robot saying tickets are super expensive too. Yeah, that's put people off. The most expensive ticket for the last World Cup was somewhere just over £1,000. This time it's over £10,000. Yeah, that's just for a plastic seat.
There's 2.
That's not hospitality.
There's 2 criminal investigations been launched in America into the pricing of the tickets, like New Jersey and somewhere else, I can't remember.
Yeah. But also there's a different setup in America. They don't really understand footy. So I'll give you an example. Some of these games are being played in NFL stadiums, and they are set up for hospitality because they only have 8 fucking games a season. Do you know what I mean? So when they do have a game, they've got to make as much money as possible. Whereas we have 18 home games a season.
Yeah.
Sorry, 19.
And
19,
that's just for the league.
That's
just for the league. You'll also have like cup games and stuff like that as well.
Yeah. And so the stadiums in the UK are smaller, but there's more seats for people because they don't take seats out to have luxury boxes and things like that. And it's not seen but I don't know, the Americans just seem to have the wrong end of the stick on a lot of this stuff. But the combination of Trump's greed and narcissism,
average,
and FIFA's, it's just blown this whole tournament out the water.
It's like you thought when they got rid of Sepp Blatter specifically for corruption, maybe this will be a bit better than Infantino's worse. He's worse.
Yeah, I know. Did you see when he was getting interviewed the other day about the Somali refugee referee? Stop saying refugee.
I'm going to say as well, this, according to the BBC, this is one of the. I don't watch a lot of football these days, so I won't know. But he was described as one of the world's top referees.
Yes.
Infantino didn't even know who he was. That's why he kept calling him the Somali referee.
Yeah.
He didn't know his name.
Yeah.
It's like, how does the head of FIFA not know the name of someone the BBC regards as one of the world's top referees?
Yeah. But he was like Saddam Hussein in the South Park movie. He was just like, "Hey guy, relax, chill guy," and it's like, what? Everyone just relax, just calm down. I'm like, this is serious stuff. I mean, this is the world is watching, and I don't know. America looks like it has very much dropped the ball. We'll have to wait and see. There hasn't been a match in America yet, but did you see the match last night? Did you watch Mexico versus South Africa?
I'm not. I
There
don't.
were 3 red cards.
No, I haven't even caught up on it, but I don't really watch telly these days. So I actually don't even watch sport.
Yeah.
So I won't be watching the World Cup. I'll keep a bit of an eye on it.
Yeah.
I've just stopped watching telly.
Well, anyway, Francis Winrow, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Is Infantino a lot worse than Blatter? Yeah.
I think he's worse than Blatter. Whether a lot, I don't know what scale, but he is worse.
There's a really good point here about how, like, Ernie's making about greedy people are generally stupid. They have no impulse control, and they would always take the second marshmallow and not get the third one later.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's very true. Hey, listen, thank you very much to Francis there, because that means I'm able to do this now. Phil, guess what? I'm going to get to fire the confetti cannon. Yay! 3, 2, 1, confetti! Woo! Yay! Woo! Yay! Confetti! See, Phil's absolutely made up with that. There he is. He's very. That's Phil's excited face. I'm not watching the World Cup, but everyone knows that. I intend to watch the matches where they're not being played in the States as much as possible. And when England are playing Panama, because they're in the same group, I'm going to be supporting Panama. Sorry if you think I'm a traitorous bastard, but you got to stick up for the underdog, Phil. Got to stick up for the underdog.
England will win it, so it doesn't matter. So it's fine.
And he says, chill guys, like, hey dude, where did I park my tournament?
Yeah. But it is, honestly, these days, FIFA, it's not a footballing organisation. I mean, again, if I were to, I'm not going to do it on my channel because it's not that, I'm only going to focus on the politics, but to have the FIFA president not know the name of one of football's top referees, it just shows you he's got no interest in football. He's only interested in the money.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And this is the problem. Anything that makes money eventually becomes corrupted, because the people who, it's like tech, isn't it? Silicon Valley used to be full of like, the sort of people who went to Woodstock. It was like liberals, right? And they were really cool, and they were developing tech that genuinely was to make life better for humanity and stuff like that. But then it started making money. So then the people motivated by money coming in. And now we have a situation where the tech giants are all building bunkers for themselves, big, lavish, luxury bunkers. And you think to yourself, if you think what you're doing is building a brighter future for humanity, why are you building bunkers?
Yeah.
Why is no one asking that? We're having the world's first trillionaire supervillain being announced at some point today, we're expecting. And they're all building bunkers. Why is no one asking that?
Wouldn't it be wonderful? Wouldn't it be wonderful if it all goes tits up today? It's not going to, but like, just
I don't care.
Some people are shorting it. There's some people who are
yeah, but I that side of it, I really don't care about. At the end of the day, piss about the stock market as long as you don't knacker my pension. But the what I care about is the abuse that he has put in his wealth too, in terms of like the damage he's doing to not just his own country. I say his own country, like America, his adoptive country, where he was an illegal immigrant. But to the whole of Europe.
Yeah.
Like, he tried to skew the German elections last year. He's really badly interfering in Britain.
Yeah.
And he's completely out of control.
Well, talking of bunkers, isn't Wanker Trump and her husband Jared Kushner, aren't they trying to buy, or they bought an island off the coast of Albania? And the Albanian people are rising up and like marching in the streets saying, "Can you fuck these guys off? Because this is part of Albania. Why are you selling it to them?"
Yeah,
and it is a place with, I think there's over 100 bunkers on this, because it was built up during the Cold War.
Yeah,
there's full of these bunkers for all these billionaires and their mates. And it's like, what?
But that's what I would say. If they think they're building a better world for humanity, why do they need bunkers?
Yeah.
It's because they know they're not.
Yeah. Why would God need a spaceship? Anyway, I've got £150 on SpaceX today, hoping to sell by the end of the day as well, says Roger. So Roger's bought 150 on SpaceX. If you spend $1 million every single day, it will take you 2,700.
It's about three. Yeah, it's nearly 3,000 years. That's exactly the point I make in my video today. Yeah. Take you the best part of three. That's exactly what I said in my second video today. Best part of 3,000 years to spend it.
That's fucking crazy.
Not that he has that money. I mean, that's the thing about it. It's a fake. It's just the value of the shares he owns. What some people, it can go down next week. It could go up next week. It's like, but there's nothing tangible about this wealth. It's a wealth we can't come to grips with because it's fundamentally different to the wealth we understand. The wealth we understand is like, how much your car or your house or your computer's worth. That's because that's the wealth we have, things.
Yeah.
Whereas this isn't. It's just what some people at a particular moment think your shares are worth. He might be just doing this to just dip over the trillion mark. Next week it might be down, but it doesn't matter. He's been the world's first trillionaire, right?
Yeah.
It's a nonsense.
It is. And we don't need trillionaires. We do not need them. They are not.
We shouldn't have billionaires. If we had a functioning economy in the world, we wouldn't have billionaires.
Well, we used to have income tax rates that went up to 98%. If you were earning above a certain...
There were still billionaires at the time, though. But yes, we did.
If you were earning that much, and
then Reagan came along and said, "Do you know
Thatcher.
what we need?" Yeah, well, she was very much in tune with it. But I think if we're going to be honest, it was ultimately America that was the. I don't think if we'd have just done it on our own, it would have made any difference.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, what we really need is to be able to create individuals who are not accountable to the public, but more powerful than entire developed countries.
Yes,
because like if you think about $1 trillion, Sweden's GDP is less than that, so he will have more wealth than basically the Swedish GDP.
Yeah, one person.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. So basically, yeah, your $1 trillion countries, there's only 20 of them. No, 21 maybe if you include Poland. So yeah, 21 countries that have a GDP of more than $1 trillion. And then you got Ireland, it's nowhere near, Belgium, Sweden, Israel, Argentina, Singapore. Then you get down the list and somewhere like Denmark is $500 billion, $500 billion GDP. And then it's just everybody else. So there's 193 members of the United Nations, and nearly 173 of them will have less money than this monster. What's his name? Elon Musk, whose dad had a relationship with his.
Oh yeah, this is okay. So every journalist, whenever he goes to an interview, if I was a journalist, my first question would always be, "How do you feel that your sister is the same person as your mother?" My opening thing would be that every single time. That was Tricky Dickie's tactic, apparently. Richard Nixon, he used to start off an interview, well, according to the Frost Nixon thing, by just before they're about to start rolling, just say something that puts them off. So how do you feel that your sister and your mother are the same person then, Mr. Musk?
Well, they split up, they're not together. Errol Musk, who was in Moscow this week, with Tommy Ten Names.
Yeah.
And Tommy Ten Names saying Russia's not the enemy.
Exactly,
Russia's not the enemy. That country that kills white people in this massive war that they're having in Ukraine.
It's killed people in Britain. Killed Britons.
Yeah. Dawn Sturgis. What about all the people on the MH17, the Malaysian jet that was going over eastern Ukraine, shot down by a Russian rocket?
Yeah.
By Russian separatists.
Yeah.
Christy says healthy economies need money to constantly circulate. At the moment, circulation is slowing down because the wealthiest are hoarding.
Exactly, it's accumulating. It's just gathering dust.
Yeah. But
you need an international approach to it in terms of tax and capital, is what I was trying to say on my stream earlier today. Land and property, we actually have the capacity to do something with that. Capital is, because there's no such thing as the UK economy, it's a global economy. So we need a global response. Yeah. At the moment, America will be of neither use nor ornament, so they won't do anything. Neither will China.
Yeah.
But at some point, there's going to be a tipping point where sensible politicians are going to have to realise that the only way to stop people voting for mad shit is to deal with the core problems that we have, which is, as everyone says in this country, even our government's open about it, the social contract needs remaking. Yeah. It's fundamentally broken. You are supposed to be better off than your parents were at the same stage of life, and that is not the case now.
No, absolutely not. Yeah. And it's all because this money is getting, we need money. It's one of the reasons why austerity was so bad for the economy because it
Yes,
slowed down money.
It prevented,
Money stopped
it
moving
stopped
around.
injections of money.
You need the money.
It's
to be
like
swirling
Trump's
around.
circulation. You know, the White House, the only medical issue they'll even admit to is what I can't remember the term they use it for now, but basically his circulation's shit. So blood pools in his legs, which means it ain't getting to his head, which explains many things. It weren't that clever when it did get to his head.
Yeah.
And the same things will happen with money. If it doesn't circulate, then you can't grow the economy because you need the money to be used. When you get money, you need people to use the money.
Yeah. But then we've got a system where in-work benefits are being paid out by people paying rent to their landlord, and it's their second home. They're paying off the mortgage for a private home, a second house for someone who already has a house, and that money, a good proportion of that money overall, is coming from the taxpayer as part of our benefits bill.
Yes. Yeah.
Go after that. Don't go after disabled people. Don't go after people who need that fucking money to live. Go after the people who are taking that money to pay off their second home. They don't need that money. Clearly, they've already got a house. They don't need another one. Sean says we have a stakeholder economy, hence the winter fuel payment to rich pensioners. Well, yeah.
Well, but, I mean, that will always be the case anyway. With democracy, you do have to accept trade-offs with everything. That includes democracy. One trade-off with democracy is you won't ever have anything completely fair because the key voters, you're going to have to give them a better deal. But you can make it fairer with a better electoral system.
Should state pensions be means tested?
So what is even like before you get anywhere near that policy, the government's own cost of living bod has again this week been talking about we shouldn't have the triple lock, but again political. You just look. It's undoubted now. If you needed like Liz Truss demonstrated what happens if you scare off gilt investors, right? So she provided a lesson. Well, Labour provided a Liz Truss level lesson themselves, but in politics, not economics. And they didn't even really take 200 quid off pensioners because the state pension, because it went up above the level of inflation, no pensioner was actually worse off as a result of it. But still, a lot of pensioners had £200 taken off them.
Yeah.
Anything like means testing the state pension or removing the triple lock would be worth more than 200 quid a year. Imagine what that would do. And that's the problem, ultimately. There's lots of things that would be a good idea. Like national insurance nowadays does not work as a tax. It should be removed and we should just have it fold into income tax. But you can't do it.
You need to get rid of council tax.
Well, you need to have a better property tax. You don't get rid of it. You just have a better property tax. Yeah. But the point with the income tax thing is, so that would be better for workers. It would encourage more work. It would encourage more productivity, but it will kill you at the election because you would be asking pensioners to pay more tax.
Yeah.
Not the poorer pensioners, because they'll still be below them. It won't affect them because they're not paying income tax. But if you are a pensioner on enough money to pay income tax, you would pay more income tax.
But so
it's political non-starter.
Getting rid of stamp duty and replacing it with a yearly fee on the basis of the cost of your house.
So if you've
got a massive £1 million house that you're sitting on with 5 empty bedrooms, it's in your interest to downsize because then you'll be paying less a year instead of this tax that we have where if you do downsize, you're paying 10, 15 grand on your new property.
You definitely have to phase that in. And I'll tell you why. Because a lot of people will naturally think, oh, if you've got £1 million house, you're quite wealthy. Actually, no. Yes. If you're a nurse who bought your house in the 70s and you're sitting on this expensive house now, but you're just on a nurse's pension, your income is not high.
Yeah.
And if you and it will be political suicide if you say, well, I would say, come up here. Do you know what? The housing's cheap up here. We're quite nice. We're quite civilized. We can even pronounce grass properly. And
there's no harm in it. Last time I checked,
we miss out a lot of letters in Yorkshire, I will have to say. In fact, when I say letter, that's me using my posh voice, because if I was actually just talking normally, I'd say letters.
Have you noticed how Starmer only says the last half of a word in the sentence that he says? He gets to the end of the sentence and then he just sort of trails off at the end of the sentence. He doesn't say the last word properly. If it's
I
got
mean,
more than one
again,
syllable, it's fucked.
you say, like the way I speak now is different to the way I speak a bit because I have to put on a bit of a telephone voice so people can understand me. Because
Yeah.
we do miss out a lot of, a lot of things. And like I'll say water here, but I won't say water in real life. I say water.
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 Water. Water.
Not water. It's no
Water.
water.
Water. I just
Gonna
water.
go and get the dog some more water.
Water in me water. It don't taste like water.
But anyway, but the point is, we're more civilized up here. We got rid of Jeremy Clarkson. What are you laughing at?
That was just funny. Well, the thing is, we're just more civilized. You remind me of the gremlin from Gremlins 2. What do you want? Civilization, of course. Come up north, get civilized. Get civilized with us northerners.
Yorkshire is provably the centre of Western civilization. Not all civilization, but Western.
Well, these Scottish people are going, hey, we're further north than you fuckers.
Well, to be fair, Scotland, like the reason why York actually looks a bit like Edinburgh, if you go around it, is because Scotland owned it for quite a lot of the time. Like they came down, Bonnie Prince Charlie and all that lot, and they came sweeping through the north of England down the east side.
Yeah.
And then, he ran away. In the end, even though he just had his hands on the throne, but he got a bit of cold feet, so he fucked off. But everyone seemed to forget they were still sort of in control in the north of England.
Yeah.
So Doncaster was like Scottish for quite a long time. No one, and then suddenly people in London went, "Hang on a minute, they're still in Doncaster." Scotland was like, "Oh shit, they've rumbled us."
I once
met it took ages for them to work it out.
I once met a guy from Scotland. It was in Gibraltar at the time. We were playing pool against him. He had a snake around his neck. He had like a little tiny snake, a real one around his neck.
Live?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
usually I think strippers doing
proper tattoos and everything. Proper. And I said, "Where are you from?" And he went, "Dunny." And I was like, "Doncaster." And he went, "No, Dunny." And I couldn't understand what the fuck he was saying, but it was Dundee.
Right.
But he calls it Donny because obviously he's Scottish and, fuck those letters. They don't.
Exactly. So
that second
efficient. We need to be efficient. It's like saying Yorkshire. Say what we like what we bloody well say. Yeah. So if you're going to say a lot, and also if you're in Yorkshire, you're talking to other people from Yorkshire, well, they want to say a lot as well. So you haven't got a lot of time to get your words out. So you ain't got time for all these erroneous letters.
Exactly. MZ's made a good point here, but Phil, you and Graham are in county councils now run by refuckers.
Yeah, this is unfortunate.
And Jenkins is your mayor.
Whose fault is it? Whose fault is it?
It's all your fault, Phil.
Southerner. A smarmy southerner.
Yeah, it is actually. Yeah, can't blame me. Like I say, we've got a Labour MP. We've got Mary Foy here as my Labour MP, and I live in a little island of green in the middle of a swamp of refuckers. We have a by-election in Staffordshire. The candidates are Tory, Labour, and refuck. Says Chris C. Paulie Dong says, "I love My Fair Lady. Before I even knew footy was a beautiful game. Why can't the English speak English?"
Because we developed our languages before trains existed. So we all developed all these little regional distinctions. Apparently it catches Americans out. One of the first things they notice when they travel around Britain is you don't have to travel very far before you get completely different dialects and language, really. It's because we developed it all before trains.
I saw an American actor complaining about this, Phil, because she was saying, well, if you try to, you run for a part, if you're a British person, and you want to run for a part playing an American, right? So we have British people playing Batman, we have British people playing Spider-Man, we have British people playing
Superman,
all these,
everything.
All these American heroes are played by British actors. Well, because there's only one accent in America that you need to learn. And they say,
one that's like a standard. There are a few.
And then if they say, "Oh, you've got to have an English accent to an American actor," they're like, "Which one?" There's about 87, which is very true. And also, I think actors who are trying to put on an accent from some other part of some part of Britain, they're going to fall down on certain words. But we do that. We say certain words like in our vocabulary where we'll have picked up something from somewhere else. So I find myself saying water sometimes, which is more of like an American way of saying water. And it's just because, I don't know, I've talked to a lot of Americans or something. So my accent isn't consistent, but we expect an actor who's pretending to be Scouse or pretending to be from Yorkshire to keep it consistent. But David Faulkner, thank you very much for the 38 Hong Kongian dollars. That's very kind of you. I see that Albanians are punching up at the powerful elites, unlike the Northern Irish who are punching down at the powerless immigrants.
Yeah.
We should mention this before we go as well. Why isn't Farage in jail, Phil? for fucking stirring up shit.
Exactly, because we don't go after the instigators.
How come someone's
Right.
nan holding a sign saying
Yeah, exactly.
Palestine action?
know.
How come they get charged under the Terrorism Act, but someone who actually goes and burns a fucking house down with people in it? Oh no, that's not terrorism.
Because
that's protest.
because they make it clear that they're not part of an organization, whereas the Palestine action thing were a clearly organization. But that's the reason. I mean, Farage keeps well out of it, but we should still be going after them.
Do you reckon we
And
need
if the
a new
law isn't
definition
strong enough to do it,
we do?
terrorism,
Yes. Then,
yeah.
If
like
if your objective is to go out and spread terror,
yeah,
you're a terrorist.
In 2024, Keir Starmer said that the law is already, we don't need any changes. The law is already strong enough to deal with it. And I would say, well, no, it's not.
No,
because you didn't get you didn't get any of the instigators. You've got one organizer that's like a minor organizer.
Yeah.
You didn't get any of the organizers. Therefore, the law isn't strong enough. Make it stronger.
Although one of the fellas who was at Southampton last week, he's been jailed now for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
So
But again, the people who went out, the grunts, not the organizers.
Yeah.
There'll always be more fools to
Yeah.
go out there, get the people organizing it. The ones, and like, but yeah, in terms of like the comment about the Northern Irish, what you need to do, if people are angry, don't be angry at the criminals that the police are dealing with. Be angry at the criminals they're not dealing with, which is like these billionaire megalomaniacs.
Yeah. Well, Elon Musk has been tweeting loads about the UK over the last 2 weeks, even though I don't think he's ever been here. Bastard.
He has been here. If you recall, he was invited by Rishi Sunak to have a conversation where Sunak was trying to be a bit of a tech bro.
Should have denied him a visa at the fucking border.
Yeah, but he invited him. But anyway, so but yeah, he's go after people like that.
Yeah,
he's a threat. I mean, the government officially labels him a threat to British democracy. And yet we're not. Well, I say we're not doing anything. I will point out I have got my full interview with Jess Asati, the MP who's taken him to court, out this Sunday at 1 p.m. if I may plug things. So she talks about. I mean, I've put out two bits of the interviews already, but the full thing is out on Sunday.
Yeah.
And she does talk about some of the things the government aren't doing. So if you think that the government aren't doing anything about this, they are actually. But I still would like to see more robust action.
Yeah, definitely. Chris is saying, Graham, he talking about Farage and stuff. He goes right up to the line, but never crosses it. I would argue that he has.
He does.
Though.
I think he does. Yeah. But again, he knows just what to say to avoid. Like what I would point out in 2024, when the Farage riots began, he adopted about a 2-week period of radio silence. I seem to remember. It was a good long period where he wasn't saying anything. Then he came out with a pre-recorded statement, which clearly been lawyered. And I think at the time he did fear that a big investigation would go after the people behind it and he could be in a bit of bother. Whereas because he got away with it, he's now happy more openly in citing this violence. He was straight on it last week, absolutely straight on it. And I think he was emboldened by the fact that there were zero consequences. Even the person who spread around, what's her face? Can't remember now. Can't remember what's her name. The person who the police went to but didn't do it, and she moaned about even that. She spread the lies around social media, about Southport, and nothing happened to her. She had a visit from the police, and she whined about that.
Yeah,
when she was the one who spread the disinformation.
Yeah. Okay, well, listen, we'll leave it there. Just before we go, I want to recommend to anyone who hasn't watched Tiptoe on Channel 4. It's only 5 episodes. Really, really recommend it. Russell T Davis's new drama series. And there's a bit in it where it's something that I've been saying for years to people that I actually know. He says, because the guy, it's David Morrissey, and he plays a homophobe who's, he believes everything he reads on the internet. He thinks that COVID was a hoax, and he thinks Brexit was great, and he thinks that, AIDS is made up, AIDS doesn't exist. And Alan Cummings plays his neighbour, and he says, "You've known me for 14 years. Why do you believe this stuff put on the internet by people that you don't know over me? Why don't you believe me?" And I've felt that so much, especially when I'm talking about Brexit to people that I know, Phil. And I'm like, I've been to every country in the world. I have a degree in history and politics from Manchester University. And yet you choose, not you, but the person I'm talking to, you choose to believe this fucking meme that you've seen on Facebook, or this YouTuber has no qualifications. You don't know. Why do you owe them some kind of allegiance over me? And I find it personally insulting. And I saw that last night and I thought, bloody hell, I've said that. I've said that exact line.
Yeah.
Why don't you believe me? And I don't mind like people watching this who don't know me personally, whatever. But when it's someone who's like part of my family or someone I grew up with, and they're going, no, I saw this guy on the internet, Graham, and that means you're wrong. And I'm just like, fuck, is there no way you can just pull rank on this sort of stuff and say, no, listen, there's a hierarchy here of trust of like, what people come up with. But it's a fantastic series. Really, really recommend it. Anyway, Space Bill says 14 years. 14 years, Phil. 14 years. Tory nonsense. But yeah, so are we going to do an agenda next week on the Monday, or should we do it on the Friday? Because if we do it on the Friday, it could be after the election in Makerfield.
I think what you need to realise is that when you said this thing about, we'll do it on the Monday because it's the agenda and it begins, the news happens during the week.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if you want to just keep it here, do you want to do it here on Friday? Are you available?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, apart from anything else, there is going to be some news next Friday. You know that, don't you?
Yes. Well, that's what I mean. It's going to be after the election in Makerfield, so
we'll have the results.
We'll have the results. Oh, I can't relax though, Phil. I genuinely can't relax.
And I think things will tighten. I think what will happen is all of those votes that are going to restore Britain, I think, because when the election actually happens, people start to think about practical outcomes, and some of that will go to Reform UK.
Yeah.
But I still think it'll be fine. Quietly confident is the phrase that we use in politics. So that way we don't jinx it.
Paulie Dark is saying the Hillsborough Law is a crossover of footy and politics. Well, I mean, it's a law. It's going to be a duty of candour for every public servant.
Yeah, again, it's called the Hillsborough Law. It's not about football. And it wasn't about it was at a football stadium, but it wasn't football that was the issue.
Yes, it wasn't the
game.
It
was getting people into a stadium. It could have been for a music concert. It would have been the same problem.
Yeah. Also, by this time next week, England would have played, and I don't think they've played by Monday. I think they're playing next Wednesday. So, we can see how full the stadiums are and stuff like that. Yeah. I can't see England playing
and how full the ice detention centres are.
I can't see England playing in a stadium that's got empty seats. I just can't. But I read yesterday there was a report from Reuters talking about the amount of tourism in America. Apparently, flights to America from Europe are down 15% on last year when they were already down because of Trump.
They were already down. Yeah.
And there was no massive football tournament. And New Jersey is where they're holding the final.
Yeah. It is. It's remarkable because it has to be said. And I'll point this out. I did a video on this last year as well. Last year, of every single country in the world that has any tourism figures, which is not all, because some countries are a bit, messed up. But of all the countries, it's well over 100 that have any sort of tourism values. Literally every single one of them last year showed gains. Only America did it go down.
Yeah.
And that was because of Trump's very, very immediate unwelcoming attitude and all the ICE stuff. And for it, during the biggest sporting event in history that they are mostly hosting, because there's a little bit in Mexico and a little bit in Canada, it's mostly in America. Most of those 100-odd games are in America. And yes, for it to go down even further when it was already down last year should be remarkable.
Yeah.
I have certainly remarked upon it. And it is because America, the so-called land of the free, is a deeply unwelcoming place these days.
Yeah. I mean, even the Americans aren't particularly free. I've talked about this before, but no,
not at all.
We, with our British passports, when you get one, Phil, I've got 9 here. Do you want to borrow one? Do you want to borrow a passport?
Try and get me out.
Our passports are more powerful than Americans. There's loads of countries that they can get into them, but when they go back to America, they get pulled into another room. And a friend of mine, this has happened to him on multiple occasions because he's like me. He's been to some mad places. And they want to know why he's gone to Cuba. They want to know why he's gone to Mauritania. They want to know why he's gone to Libya. And they'll question him for like 2 hours. And he's a lawyer. He just sits there going, I don't have to answer this. And then eventually they get bored and let him go. But it's like,
I would have fun with it.
Yeah, he does.
I was gonna
But
say, I would
that's never
absolutely
happened
have
to me
fun
in
with
this
it.
country. I have never, I mean,
No.
touch wood, I've never been pulled aside coming back into this country. Being, why did you go here? Why did you go to Eritrea? What was that? Why did you go to Iraq? And never once. They're just gone, welcome home, sir. Well, usually they're feeling nice. Actually, no one talks to you anymore. You just put your
Good.
you put your passport into a machine and
scanner,
the gates open.
Yeah, what you want.
Yeah. Paulie Donkey says, "Hand of Gods, hand of God." No, we don't want another. We don't want another Diego Maradona moment. No, I was 7 years old when that happened. I'll never forget it. Went into school the next day. Everyone was very upset. Felt we were robbed.
It was cheating. I mean, it's one thing when you lose to but it was cheating.
Should have been a penalty. Should have been a pen. Okay, Phil. Well, thank you very much for sitting down with me and talking about the shit that's going on with Labour. I'll see you next week on the agenda, and we'll talk about Makerfield's election, by-election, and where next for Labour, I guess, on depending on what that result is. And you do a live show tomorrow at 7:00. Is that right? On your channel at a different bias.
I will be tomorrow, yeah, not the week after, because I'll be in London.
Oh, you're going to London again?
Or I'll
be
escaping London. But
you'll be obsessed. I know. I'll be in London as well.
I'll be there with you. I've been in London in a month.
I know. I'll be there with you. I'll be like, oh, this bloody place.
I don't mind the place. The place is nice. The people are obviously they don't vote Reform UK, so that's a big plus.
Yeah, that's good.
But it's just crowded. I just don't do with crowds. It's travelling and crowd. You like the travelling. I don't like the travelling or the crowds.
I like both.
So going to London is a problem.
Like people. I'm just a weirdo. What can I say? Okay, Phil. Brilliant. So yeah, we'll do that next week. And before you go watching this, if you give us a like, that'll be great. If you like this, if you're not already subscribed to this channel or Phil's channel, get it over there and subscribe. And if you hit the bell notification icon, that will allow you to get a ping in your pocket if I'm going to go live, which I might do at some point.
I'll finish with something. This is hilarious, by the way. So I've started doing stuff on Facebook.
Yes.
And I had an absolutely hilarious. What's really bad on Facebook, they should learn from YouTube. It's actually really hard to quickly and easily reply back to people. YouTube's way better. You don't half appreciate YouTube systems when you go on Facebook. But anyway, one thing Facebook do if someone messages you, not like a reply to one of your videos, but they message you, it gets this automatic thing saying, "Hi, thanks for contacting us. We've received your message and appreciate your getting in touch." Like it's an automated thing. I had a brilliant one yesterday. So someone messaged me, "You're a fucking prick." And then the response is, "Hi, thanks for contact." I love this, the fact they've got this really professional business-like reply to it. It's hilarious. Whoever designs Facebook systems for content creators, they hate their job, but they've at least got a sense of humor.
Brilliant.
Whereas on YouTube, any comments like that, they'll just chuck it in room 101. Like if I go to my comments, and when some people think, "Oh, Phil's deleting comments," I don't delete comments. But YouTube itself curates them. If it thinks it looks a bit dodgy or it breaches their guidelines or something, it just goes into a bin. In theory, I can go through that bin, but who could be asked? So I don't bother. But yeah, that's probably where all the abuse goes. Whereas on Facebook, it's just there, and it gets you a polite business response from the automated systems.
Yeah. My traveling friend has just got in touch with me. He goes to all these mad places, and he was planning to go to Russia next year. So in order to be able to get money out in Russia, because obviously they closed down all visas and MasterCard, taking out the ATMs, he put a load of money into a Russian bank account, like a deposit account, so he could get the money out next year. And it's just been announced that Putin has frozen all funds and deposit accounts by citizens of unfriendly countries.
The whole system, system's fucking collapsing.
Sorry, mate.
It's collapsing.
Fucking hell. Whoop. Anyway, and Paulie Donkey wants a Phil and Phil collab. A Phil and Phil? Who's the other Phil? Which is the other Phil?
I'm going to collab with myself. What am I supposed to do? What do a Facebook? I accidentally did Patreon and Twitch streaming last thing.
Cool. Well, yeah, I'm gonna be doing some more TikTok and live stuff after I did my 65-hour thing, and I need to do more Twitch things as well. I think I need things to go out on Twitch. But I'm thinking rather than paying for it, because it's like you got to pay like £20 a month. I can't be arsed with that. I'm probably going to just set up my laptop, because it's my desktop, set up my laptop to go out on Twitch and set up my phone to go out on TikTok.
Right.
So I have like 3 different cameras.
Okay.
That's what I did on my 65.5 hour live
Why do you
stream.
need 3 different cameras if you just stream to the same platforms? Or you just stream to the same platforms at the same time?
Because then you have to pay for an add-on.
No.
You have to get StreamYard or...
I just use XSplit Broadcaster, which I paid a one-time fee.
Oh,
for.
okay.
I pay like a few. I think I pay a few quid a month effectively.
Oh, okay.
Like 4 quid or something.
All right. What's that called?
XSplit Broadcaster.
XSplit. Is that, and that, does that plug into OBS?
No, it does it. You don't have OBS. You don't have to put up with OBS then.
Oh, do you not use
It's
OBS?
a streaming software. I don't use OBS.
Oh,
I use XSplit Broadcaster. It's a streaming software. It's superior.
Okay. Fair enough. Anyway, right. Phil Carr. We need to talk to fake Phil Carr, apparently. Whoever Phil is. I don't know who Phil Carr is. MZ says, when me and my friend went through Hawaii's immigration and customs, my mate got pulled aside and questions about a bunch of her vitamins and ADHD meds. Awkward when they also questioned our return trip to Thailand, etc.
Mm.
Yeah, they're not very welcoming in America, gotta say. America and Australia, 2 of the worst countries I've been to for border guards being not very friendly. Not making you feel welcome. Like, you're an inconvenience, Phil. Why have you come off? Why have you travelled halfway around the world to see us, you bastard?
When I was a teenager, we went on like family holidays there. I remember the first time where we went out there. It was like dead of night, right?
Yeah.
When we arrived in Florida. And there were all these things, right? And there was this one checkout. Like, everyone got off the plane and almost everyone was from there was one family from the United States, right? So we're on this massive line. And then there's a whole room full of these checkouts that are all unstaffed, but they're all for US citizens only. So this American family come out, someone comes out of an office, checks them in, they go through, and then they fuck off again. There was none of this, oh, there's a lot of you, do you want to come here or anything like that to get through people through? No, it's like, no, there were like 20, I counted, there was 24 check through points. 23 of them were for US citizens. 1 was with the rest of the world. And it was the dead of night. There was no one else. It was just our plane there. And they made us all queue for like an hour to get through.
Yeah.
Rather than, there were staff there, but rather than just, get us through quicker, it was like, no, that's your checkout, the rest of the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Anyway.
Sounds about right. All right, mate. Well, listen, you take care. Have a great weekend. And I might do a show a bit later on, but if not, I'll definitely do a show tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. So please join me for that here at the Morning Brew on the Saturday Morning Brew, Saturday special. And until then, I'll say thank you very much for watching. Thanks for the super chat. And until next time, hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye. Bye.